everyone. So this is our program of the VVB. The name of our program is Veni Vidi Bevi, which is I come, I drink, I solve. And we've been doing this program for 1,000 episodes, but it's all in Cantonese. So I thought, you know, why not I do it in English and try to reach out to a broader audience? So the specialty of this program is that we review a lot of exotic wines, mostly from Asia, from some, you know, also famous wine regions like Eastern Europe. Well, sometimes we do review some wines from famous regions like okay, Bordeaux or sometimes Burgundy, but usually we like to broaden our eyesight and try some wines from different regions. So this episode, for the first wine, we tried a Japanese wine from Anderson Farm, which was a white, Saiwai it was the name. It's difficult for non-Japanese speakers to comprehend, to understand the label actually. But for a second wine, for the only red we have, this is easier to understand for English speakers, for all of you. It's from Itsumu Wine. The winery is called Itsumu, and the grape is Merlot. There's enough English information here on this label. It's a barrel aged. Well, it says barrel aging. 2008. It's a Merlot that has been aged for well, more than 10 years. So this is the winery. It's located in. Can I have the map, please? So this winery is located in Nagano Prefecture, which is one of the biggest wine producing prefectures in Japan. So the biggest one is Yamanashi. The second biggest is Nagano. And this wine is it's a barrel aged. So usually in Japan they use French barrels as well, and they do it the Western way especially for the red wines. But Merlot is one of the most common grapes in Japan, one of the most common Vitis vinifera in Japan, widely planted because it is easier to adapt to that climate, because winter comes quite early, and it has to be Merlot. It's more early ripening, so it's more suited for the Japanese weather. But of course, Japan do have their own grapes. They have a lot of hybrid grapes. Muscat Bélier or Cainois, a lot of strange grapes. But occasionally they do Vitis vinifera. And well, this wine is from this producer called Itsumu Wine, which is not a big or major producer, because Japan has quite a few big players. The major players in Japan, Chateau Mercian, Grand Polaire, Suntory, they're all the big players. But this Itsumu Wine is one of the boutique wineries. I've never been really a big fan of their wines, because I've been trying their wines for quite some years. I've got some of my other favorite Japanese producers, but Itsumu has always been just, you know, I find them quality-wise they're so-so, and the winery is just, I mean, because Merlot is there's this Itsumu winery, the star grape is Merlot, and the problem with Merlot is it's always been a grape that's very hard to impress people. It's a grape that is middle of the road every time. The best Merlot was the best Merlot. It's not the most tannic. It's not the most acidic. It's not the most outstanding. It has to be very balanced. It has to be everything that's in the middle. Okay, it's not full-bodied. It's not light-bodied. It's in the middle, acidity in the middle, everything in the middle, and that actually suits Japanese culture, because I think it's a very Japanese thing to maintain a very nice balance and not to be outstanding in any way, but you know, everything should be uniform, everything should be very how do you call it? Everything should be very tidy. right? So let's give it a try. From the color, you can see the wine is actually a bit aged. You can see it's actually entered, it's probably secondary development, secondary phase of development. Not tertiary yet, but yeah, it's not a young wine, that I could tell. On the nose, there's obvious development on this wine. You can smell some forest notes, some mushroomy, some forest floor. Yeah, it's quite developed already. On the palate, again, on the palate, nothing really stands out, but there's a tiny bit of bitterness to it on the tannin. So the tannin structure is actually there. Acidity, it's not super lively, but it's well balanced. And then the major problem is there's not a lot of fruit on it already. But it's not like the wine. It's not like the wine is not. It's dead already, but it's just the fruit is gone, and then the bitter tannins are a bit too much, a bit rough already. Maybe with some food it would be better, but then when we drink it by itself, it's sort of a bit too much on the bitterness, and it's not what a Japanese Merlot should be. A Japanese Merlot should be a very smooth wine. It should be very balanced. But this one doesn't show that. So, unfortunately, I don't think this wine is a very good example of what Merlot should be from Japan. But anyhow, it's one of the few aged examples I have, because it's hard to find aged Japanese wine on the market. I think I got this bottle when I was traveling Japan only, and at that time it's got a silver medal from Japan wine competition, in 2010. So you can see actually this wine probably would have been better maybe a few years ago, but right now it's just going downhill. It's getting into the tertiary phase of development. So I think if you have a wine like that, you should drink up, and it shouldn't be kept. So, well, anyway, if I have to give it a score, okay, at this moment, this wine, after all the development, I think I just give it a C. You know, it's not a wine that, you know, how we grade our wines here on this program. A is a wine that I would be happy to buy a case of it and keep it myself. B is, okay, so it's a nice wine. I like it a lot, but I wouldn't buy a case of it. I might buy a bottle or two of it and keep it myself. C is, okay, I'll take a sip. It's all right. It's not bad, but it's not a wine I would buy myself. D is something that, you know, it's sort of not very good. If I had to give anything below D, it's rubbish. It's crap. Something that I don't want to drink, yeah? But this wine, I would say it's not a fail. I mean, it's all right. It's a small production wine as well. It's a boutique winery. But I've never been really fascinated by this winery. I got my other favorites, so it's all right. So if you have this wine, drink up. And that's it. That's all I have to say about this wine. Thank you very much. See you again.